Welcome to Goodwill Columbus live stream this Friday morning, just shortly after 10. My name is Curtis, and today we are doing our art. I hope you can join us. I'm just pulling up my live feed now on my phone so I can sit and see the notes, comments that are coming in. Feel free to comment in. So as I put in the event section, we are going to do still life portraits today. Not everybody understands what a still life portrait is, so we'll talk a little bit about that. And if anybody wants to chime in, if we have any members of our art community, please feel free to comment in any kind of suggestions or advice. Just let it be known I am a amateur. I am not a professional artist. I just use this as a coping skill to help recenter myself and kind of kick back and enjoy life with people. So I'm just pulling out my pencil now. Make sure I got everything ready. Missing the the pencil sharpener I had earlier. So that's okay. So still life. What is still life? Well, it's something that is just sit still and you draw it. A lot of times you will see it as a bowl of fruit or a fruit assortment laying out on a table arranged in a certain fashion. Or you may see different bottles or different types of objects, but they're placed in random order, or it could be a regular order, and then there's lighting added to that. So I decided that today would be a great day to kind of explore that. Now, for still life, pencils work just fine. If you really want to extend your horizons, I feel that charcoals work best for still life because you can really capture shading, and that's a very important thing to bring these still objects to life. So you can get a box of charcoal. It's called willow charcoal, and it comes in little packages. There's different thicknesses. And remind you, this is charcoal and it gets dirty. Or you can buy a neat little set that has different pencils with charcoals in them, a couple thicker charcoals, and then a charcoal only pencil as it's all falling out. I know, I'm breaking things.
No, my friend has one of those.
Yeah. So I'm just going to pull out the charcoal. I'm not going to use the pencils today. And an important thing to have when you're working with charcoals is a kneadable eraser. Now, it's not kneadable as in N-E-E-D need, but N-E-A-K-N-E-A-D kneadable, which means it's flexible. You can mush it up. You can reshape it. If you need to erase a certain part, you can even put it into a little point and erase just a little bit. But they're very nice to have, and they work great with charcoals and doing this type of stuff. So, all right. Of course, you saw me earlier with my pad of paper. Now, what kind of still life do you want to do? You want to take a moment to gather some things from around the house to put together? That is great. You can do that. What I did already, because had to be prepared for the video today, was to grab some things that were important. So right now, I grabbed a plate, just a simple plastic plate, in which I'm going to set my stuff on. And I wanted to find things that were important to me in regards to what COVID-19 has represented, and how could we represent that in a still life. So for me, I lean towards humor as a way that I can get through stress and difficult times. So one of the main things we all know is that everybody was panic buying toilet paper. And this is one of the rolls from a recently purchased package of toilet paper I was able to find. So I'm going to place that on my plate. One of the other things that was difficult to find, hand soap, especially the antibacterial hand soap. Now, it doesn't have to be antibacterial. It's just the fact that you are washing your hands, and washing your hands is very important this time anyway. So you really need to make sure that you are washing your hands regularly, especially after touching things that other people have touched. So I'm going to put that on my plate as well. All right. And yeah, I probably could have picked a bigger plate. One thing that I still laugh about when I was out, my wife and I were out trying to shop, was the amount of people that bought corn. Vegetables is important to have this time of year, or any time of the year. And, you got to have something to go along with your meats and your starches and everything. Yes, corn is a starch, I know this, but people were panic buying everything. And the one thing I remember most, besides there being no toilet paper and soap, was that there was no cans of corn. You could find all the other less desirable vegetables, wax beans, green beans, navy beans. You're sensing a theme. But beets, carrots, you could find those. You just couldn't find corn. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I just like some good corn, some butter, salt, pepper, but I couldn't find it. So that's going on my plate today. But I'm wondering how I'm going to represent that. Sometimes things just don't all line up correctly. Or maybe if I put that on top of the toilet paper. And then, just as a representation of people running out, I got an empty toilet paper roll. So my still life drawing is going to look something like this. Yeah, that's basically all it's going to be. This is all you need to do, is get your stuff together and just arrange it. And then what you want to do is you want to put it in a place where you're going to be able to see. So I'm going to put it down on this little tray that I've got. You can't see it, but it's down there. I'm going to respond to a comment real quick. Somebody asked me about my black Goodwill shirt, but I want to point out that it's not black. It's dark blue. All right. Now remember, I definitely want you guys to send me your dig. I see I couldn't even spell correctly. I spelled dark. Fat thumbs. So email me your pictures when you're done, and I'll give you my email address and then we'll get started here. They always do different colored shirts. So I've got kind of a top heavy, but I've got a lamp. Doop. I've got an idea. So what this lamp is going to do is it's going to create shadows. As you can see, see, you can see my hand shadow on the back wall there behind me with multiple fingers because I have multiple light points. I wanted to be able to highlight me so you can see me, and I didn't want to be like a Dateline program uh, hidden person behind a big old cloud of darkness. So one thing that helps with still life is shadows. You want to be able to have the shadows. In order to have those, you got to have a light source. So that's where we're going to start. I'll move stuff out of the way so I can get my pad of paper together. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is, and it's kind of weird because I'm kind of looking down on it, which adds perspective as well. And remember what we did last week, we just kind of drew shapes. So you kind of want to begin with drawing some shapes again. And then we can, always go back and erase the shapes. Especially when we're working with circle stuff. Definitely want to get those shapes in there. Wish I could draw toilet paper a little better, but it is what it is. And you kind of want to try to capture the essence of what everything is there. And the perspective doesn't have to be perfect. It's just as long as you have fun and you're drawing something. I know this is a great exercise for you, Mike, because you just like the shade. Let's go around. How's everybody been doing this week? It's been kind of a hard week for some people. I know that there's been a lot of things going on in people's lives. And what drawing the shapes really helps me do is find my perspective, find my ratio and how things should be laid out, find shapes, how they connect. And it's really tough sometimes, because especially when you've got rounded bottles, soap. See, I realize that my toilet paper roll is too big. So that's where my eraser comes in. Just erase. So that's coming out of there. Now I gotta draw my can of corn. Corn. One funny theory my wife had as to why everybody was buying so much toilet paper, and we had a good laugh about this, was because so many people were buying corn. You gotta have a lot of toilet paper when you eat a lot of corn. I know. But again, remember what I said in the beginning, I use humor as a coping mechanism. So I try to find the funny in everything. TP rolls can never be too big these days. Sometimes there was one, the triple roll. We normally buy quilted northern. I don't know. I always feel that I get more bang for my buck. It's not too thick. I don't feel any different when I'm using it. But the triple rolls do not fit on a normal toilet paper roll holder. All right. So, as you can see, I've got my basic outline done. Everybody have enough toilet paper at home anyways? I mean, they're slowly starting to get it out. You know what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to use some charcoal. Some of my willow charcoal. Now, I've never just used a full stick of charcoal. I'll break it, make it smaller. Of course, then you get little crumbs everywhere. And what you'll notice about charcoal, it can do very black stuff. Not as in dark humor black, but as in color black. And so you really gotta just go lightly with it, because it's gonna get pretty dark. Which is great when you're doing a really dark shadow. How is everybody doing this week? I know I've asked it, but I hadn't really seen any comments come through. I should add the label, add a layer of difficulty. So people know what it is. I might just do a generic. I'm writing down the label now. Golden whole kernel corn. So do we think the weather's going to get bright now? I would love to get outside to do some landscape stuff. Art-wise, I really don't like pulling weeds. Plus, I kind of miss my walks. It's been kind of hard to walk with the weather being so iffy. I don't mind being cold. I don't mind being wet. I just don't mind being, I mind being cold and wet. I wanted to thank those that submitted pictures last week. I had a few to post. It's always good to see people who aren't afraid to take risks. Maybe I'll try this pencil. Oh, it's a little lighter. Not as thick. Anybody working with any of our people in their homes today? If you are, this is a great activity that you can do with them. Because there's really no requirement for skill level. It's just having fun, relaxing. Plus, it's a great way to have a conversation. Talk to them, see what they're doing. All right, get my my piece of charcoal back now that I used the pencil. I can hardly believe it's been 20 minutes already. Kind of went a little too far. But that's okay. Do we have anybody from our art community participating today? I'd love to hear from you guys. You guys are very quiet today. Yeah, gotta draw the inside line of the. Let's see that when I'm done. Oh. Nice thing about charcoal is that you can use your finger to shade in. Shading makes it a little easier. Plus, you can always break off a smaller piece and scrub it. Oh, see, wait, that's my tattoo. Ah! It's early. I've got maybe a couple hours of sleep. Worry about the art critics I was going to run into this morning on this. But you can break off a small piece and you can lay it down flat and shade. Kind of like what you do with crayons when you're trying to do a different texture or get a wider area. The darker you can color, the more you can blend it in. You kind of swoop in, so you start with a very dark spot, and then kind of just swoop it over into a lighter spot, which is kind of weird because it can create a lot of different movement. You know, and if you happen to go over your line, you can go back in and redraw it. I am getting charcoal everywhere, but you know what? That's okay. Looking back and forth. I'm going to do a highlight of a shadow, and I'm going to kind of color it in. I'm going to smudge it with my finger. I think I've got too many lights on. Yep, your fingers get a little tinted with the charcoals, but that's okay, because that's all the fun of art. Art is like baking. You know, or cooking in the kitchen. If you're not making a mess, you're not having enough fun. So I'm gonna have to darken this up a little bit so I can tell between my shapes, otherwise it's just all blending in. Oh, it has been years since I've done this. And my hand's my own worst enemy. I'm getting it in. I'm getting it all over the page. Of course, that's okay because you can go back and use your eraser and erase it, get it cleaned up. And I think I might use the pencil and draw some of these shapes on the toilet paper. What do you guys want to do? I always wonder what the purpose of the shapes on the toilet paper really are. I think my legs are going numb. I'm not seeing much shade up north. Oh, that's an interesting shadow. Oh, that's because it was supposed to be taller than that. Oh well. Yeah, I'm confused about the shadows. Because the nice thing about still life is you try to get one point of light going down so the shadows are all on one side. But unfortunately for me, I've got shadows many different sides, so it's kind of creating some confusion. Little corn kernels on the label. I had a third grade teacher who was very artistic. She had a lot of visual teaching, and it was great for me because I'm a visual learner. And she saw something in me and got my parents to take me to the teacher that was doing private art lessons that her daughter was going to. So it was where I learned how to color with charcoal and do many different art things. And it was kind of nice. Didn't last too long. She had to give it up, but it's just one of those good, positive memories that you kind of think about as a child. I wonder if I can do a little bit of shading over here. You know, when you're shading, you want to like take your finger and swoop away towards where you got your dark line, and you want to kind of swoop away. So if your dark line's here, and your shadow's going this way, but it's getting lighter as it's getting over here, so you start at your dark end and swoop over, and that's what creates the effects. So I clean this up a little bit because I am almost out of time for today. Might have to hit my plate one more time before I log off so you guys can see what I've got. So, all right. That's a still life. Not the greatest, but you know what? We're just here to have fun, relax, just recenter ourselves. So I hope you enjoyed our time this morning, and I look forward to seeing you guys Monday morning.